Hi, all you bare feet athletes. Today I am sharing with you 4 stretches or positions that are vital to your performance. So whether you are a stand-up paddleboarder, surfer, skier, any type of sport that you are using your bare feet. I'm a water barefoot athlete more so, but also in nature if you're doing any other kind of sports. Or even if you're not doing sports, this is these are 4 essential movement positions for the joints of your ankles and feet, right? Your knees, your hips, and ultimately your spine. But we're just gonna kind of look at the feet, which have 33 joints in them. So the first position is the one that I'm in, which I call heel seat or heel sit, which is actually sitting on the heels, right? And so when I'm sitting on my heels, what that looks like with nice open mobile ankles is that my heels will actually roll out. So if my heels are not rolling out, it means that I've got a lot of tension held in my feet and in my ankles. Right? One of the things I see in this position is that either knee pain, right? And that's from the quads being too tight. So you never want to sit in these positions if you're having knee pain. What you would do is place a blanket behind your legs, right? That helps lengthen the quads so that they're not holding and gripping, and they can actually learn how to relax so that you learn how to get full knee and hip flexion again. All right, if that's not high enough, you would add 2 blankets. You could even sit on a block underneath that. You just build that up until it feels comfortable for you to sit in this position. The other position or other place that I often see is tight is that the heels actually don't roll out and the ankle is stuck in a little bit of dorsiflexion. So instead of my ankle being able to fully open, right, it's stuck. And I see this in a lot of runners as well. So I want to put something underneath the ankle, right? So I'm not forcing it to stretch, but I'm allowing the joint to open. So it could be using something as small as a towel, or I could even bring in another blanket, right? And again, placing it underneath the ankles. So my feet are gonna hang off some, which it should feel more comfortable. You may be so tight that you have to prop up on a blanket under your hips and under your ankles, right? And you'll know by the way you're able to sit up, right? So if you're falling back because everything is so tight, right, or you're hunched forward, you need some support for those joints so that the muscles can learn to relax and open. So that's the first position. So second position after Japanese sit or heel sit is gonna be foot cross, right? So I'm actually I'm gonna cross left foot on top of the right, not my ankle, but my feet, right? And they're at a kind of an angle towards each other. And I'm gonna slowly sit back and sit up. So it should feel like pressure in the bottom of the fascia of the foot, right? So I'm really I want that bone weight of the top foot to really melt and cradle into the bottom foot. So that creates a spreading of the foot, right? And when your foot can spread fully, then it can often also rebound with nice, strong tension, right? So if you're a barefoot athlete, if your feet aren't doing the work, right, and they're not doing the mobilization that 33 joints in your foot should be doing, then you're gonna have excess movement in your knees and your hips and your back and your spine, and your recovery of your balance is gonna be more effort than if it can happen in your feet. So you want nice open feet. So then you'll switch whichever foot is on top, and that one might be a little bit more uncomfortable. Again, I may have to change how wide my knees are, and I may just kind of have to play around with where that wants to be. Same thing in these positions. You want to make sure that you're not having knee pain, so you can keep the setup If you needed this on the first position, you'll need this for these positions. You'll either need to keep the blanket behind your knees or hips, and or the top of that ankle, right? So if you're stuck in dorsiflexion, right, you're gonna want to bring something underneath the ankles so that you feel it just in the feet. You might feel a little stretch to the top of the ankle, but you don't want to feel that a ton. Okay, last position. So you hold that. How long do you hold it? You hold it until your body's like, I'm done. So if you notice kids on the floor, right, if they're sitting on the floor, they're always moving around, right? They'll change positions. And that's such a natural practice that we have been conditioned to not doing, right? We've been taught to be still and to stop moving around. But that's actually our nervous system's natural intelligence saying, like right now, it's telling me to switch positions, right? So that's how you use your intuition or instinct. So now the fourth one is toe sit, right? So in toe sit, this one's hard for a lot of people because the fascia and the toes and all of that is really tight, right? If we don't have good toe bend, we can't get up and down off the ground, right? As well, if we don't have the toes bending, and we don't have the length in the back of the ankle, right? So the lower part of the calf, our Achilles tendon and the soleus here can get really tight. So this is not just a stretch for the toes and feet. It's also, again, looking at all of those connections, right? What you'll see here is if you're really tight, your heels will roll out, right? We want to be really careful not to sickle out through the heels. So if that means I want my heels underneath my sit bones as much as possible, right? And I want, right, so if my heels are forward, I actually want them back over the ball of the foot, right? So this is going to put too much strain, if your heels forward, on your toes. So you want to walk your knees or heels back. All right, a way to support this, if this is really intense, is either keep your weight slightly forward, so don't force it and don't stay there too long. Or you can lift your knees up and place them on top of a blanket or a block. And that can really help get the weight more in the ball of the foot and less weight into the toes. So that could be a little bit more useful to have your knees up. Yeah, and the more you practice this, the more mobility you get. So those are the 4 postures and positions. Heel sit, foot cross on each side. So those are 2, 3, and then the 4th one is toe sit. Toe sit will improve the mobility of your foot when you're getting down to up, right? So if we want to walk better, if we want to run better, if we want to be able to step forward, if we want to be able to navigate in positions that we are getting up and down, we really need to have the mobility in our feet and the strength. So even when I'm sitting here, this is not really stretching. It is, but I'm loading. I'm loading weight through my feet, and my feet are learning how to maintain that shape with tension. So there is a tone in my feet in this position, right? And then when I start to add movement to it, movement patterns to that, I really begin to create mobility with movement, right? Instead of just holding static stretches. Okay, so I hope this was helpful. Would love to hear how you experience these positions. All right.